Hi everyone, good morning. Today is Sunday, August 2nd, 2015. Now I want to start off today with some info on how to participate here at unityofone.com. Our chat room, it's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it is accessible through unityofone.com or the Unity of One Ustream channel. And that's because the chat is provided through my paid Ustream service. So if you would like to chat with other members, then it's very simple. You must go to Ustream and create a username and password. That way when you come here to unityofone.com or Ustream and you click on the chat room, you'll have a username and password to access it. But if you would like to correspond with me directly, then you can just simply use the Submit a Question button below the video player on our main site at unityofone.com, or you can email me directly at migrationoflife@gmail.com. Cool? Excellent. Now, as far as that word, life, believe it or not, many of my friends thought I became a vegetarian because of health issues. And granted, it did play a part in that, but I've always had an issue with the food I chose to eat. I remember once during elementary school, first grade as a matter of fact, and I was 6 years old, I went home for lunch, and yep, back then in my neighborhood, we actually were able to leave school and go home for lunch. Crazy, right? But when I came home, I ate leftover cold chicken. And during one of the bites, as my mouth was separating from the piece of chicken, a long black rubbery thing stretched and snapped and whipped across my face. It stuck to my cheek. I screamed and freaked out. I was so grossed out. And I asked my sister, what the hell is this? And she said it was a chicken vein. I got up, I ran to the bathroom, and I threw up. I couldn't even go back to school that afternoon because I was literally sick to my stomach. But what did I continue to do? I spent the next 10 years chowing down chicken, pork, and beef, and then at around 16, I tried to become a vegetarian. I was at my grandparents' house in San Diego, California for the summer, and my grandmother made me macaroni and cheese with little pieces of ham she had cut up into it. As I was eating this, I realized I'm eating eggs, milk, and meat. Life. So yeah, I tried for the first time in my life to become a vegetarian, and it lasted about a week because everyone around me told me I was just being foolish and I was being an idiot. So like an idiot, I listened to them. Don't mind my dogs, Luna. They do that all the time. It's cool. So I was 16 at this time, and I continued on living my life based on what everybody else did. I did this all the way up until the point where I was 44 years old. By that time, I was 230 pounds. I was taking a handful of medication for high blood pressure, massive headaches, and triglyceride levels that were life-threatening. I also listened and took the doctor's advice on my diet. I started to eat less grains and ate less carbohydrates, and I started to eat even more meats. A few months later, I was worse. Everything they told me to do made me worse, even including taking the medicine. And I had no idea what to do. I was miserable. I was bitter. I was angry. I grew up playing drums, being a martial artist, boxing. I had energy levels that were through the roof. Now, at this time, I was 44 years old, and I was literally approaching early death. My wife and I came across a film on Netflix titled Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And we watched this film, and that's when it happened. Everything for me changed. Now, in short, the film is about a guy who is sick, and he's fat, and he's nearly dead. And he goes on a 60-day juice fast. And I'm not talking about some silly little Oprah Winfrey cayenne pepper lemon water juice thing. This is actually taking things like kale, broccoli, celery, cucumber, green pears, green apples, some ginger and lime, a green juice reboot, and consuming nothing but this, giving your body a micro and macronutrient bombardment in such quantities that you could not sit and eat all that produce, hence why we juice it. And that was it for me. I mean, we got a juicer, I stopped the meds, and I juiced for 2 weeks straight. And then I started eating again, only fruits and vegetables, while continuing to juice every day, multiple times a day. I removed most of the sodium from my diet because as I monitored my own eating habits, I noticed that salty foods made me retain water. And I also started to take dairy out of my diet because I noticed that after I ate something with dairy in it, I would wake up the next day feeling very thick, literally like I had a layer of some thick goo between my skin and bones. But within 1 month of that change of juicing, I lost 30 pounds. 30. I was now down to 200 pounds like that. I still kept eating meat, really steak and some pork chops with some chicken here and there, and I started to exercise again, P90X as a matter of fact, and I did it all. And that's when I really started noticing that my drumming and my focus and just my overall life started to change. I really started to feel better, and I was becoming me again, and even more it seemed like. And this was all very good. I was starting to feel really happy, and that's when it hit me. You know, that's when I started things like the My Drum Life concept, and I still have that going on today. But in that mix of changing my life and changing career paths, in that mix, I still felt kind of off after I would eat meat. You know, my stomach would bother me, my body didn't feel right, I still had some problems here and there sleeping, just something wasn't right. And also, honestly, I always felt bad when I ate meat. I would sit down with a steak and I would think about that cow, and I would think the same thing for anything else that I ate that was once alive. A life. And it hit me, and I realized that the problem I was avoiding since that piece of chicken vein smacked me in my face 41 years ago, that I'm actually eating a part of me. I'm eating a part of my family, and I'm eating creation. I'm eating life, and I am contributing to the death of a part of God. I am condoning and promoting the darkness that is evil. That sounds crazy, doesn't it? Well, if all life is from God, all life is from the universe, as we and all life are a part of creation, we were raised to believe that we were all there was in God's creation. All of the stars, planets, and galaxies were put there to test man's faith. We were actually raised on that ridiculousness. And in the same breath, we were told that man has slaughtered animals in the name of God, hence the sacrificial lamb. We did this, even when God said, "Thou shalt not kill." But that wasn't a test of man's faith, or that wasn't a test of man's intelligence. Now, for me, it most certainly was. I became a vegetarian for moral issues, not health issues. I became a vegetarian because to me, it is clear what we are supposed to eat. And actually, in this past week, I have solidified that I am now and forever a vegan because I will no longer even eat a chicken egg here and there. People believe humans are at the top of the food chain because we have opposable thumb. We are not at the top of the food chain. Bacteria actually is. We are, however, at the top of the evolutionary chain in the sense of our intelligence. The planet Earth is here to provide you and me with everything we need to survive. Let's think about that and the life that it inhabits. The Earth is, fact, a living organism. Every animal here on Earth, from microbial life to the largest land animals, are here to maintain the balance of the planet. The animals fertilize and balance out nature as they are supposed to. If we remove the human concept, we would have a very green, lush planet with so much diverse life that it would be so amazing we would probably die from the overwhelming beauty of it. And this is because that natural process of life is maintaining itself as one unified ecosystem. But now we put humans back into it. Do you really believe we're here to destroy the land, ruin the oceans, and pollute the skies? I'm really asking you this. Do you really believe we are here to kill the very life that God has created? Are we supposed to tear into the flesh that is creation? Or are we supposed to be the keepers and the guardians of life? Are we supposed to nurture and protect the planet and all the life that it inhabits? I believe we are. And I am a vegan in the honor of life. In the United States alone, over 9 billion land animals are slaughtered each year. Each year, over 35 million cattle are murdered. Each year, over 975,000 baby calves are murdered. Each year, 111 million pigs are slaughtered. Each year, over 9 billion chickens are murdered. Last year in the United States, over 25.8 billion pounds of beef alone were consumed in the US. Also, over 100 million tons of fish were pulled out of the ocean last year. A dairy cow, you know where you get your milk and cheese from, doesn't always produce milk. It produces milk to feed its baby. And after about a year or so of nursing, it dries up. And then about 10 months later, when it's pregnant again, it regains its milk production. You and I, well, not me anymore, get milk because factories have tied them up, have them standing on cement floors, continuously impregnating them every 10 months so they continuously, non-stop, produce milk. Not for their babies, but for you. Bovine milk. We feed ourselves and we feed our children the breast milk of another species. The hormones. The commercials boast no human growth hormones added because you are feeding your children bovine growth hormones and proteins. A chicken egg is a dropped, unfertilized fetus. The yolk is actually the fetus of the baby chicken. The white, your egg whites, is a protective coating the fetus gets as it travels down the chicken's uterus. And the eggshell is the same exact thing as a human baby's amniotic sac. It's only a hard shell because it gestates outside of the mother and it needs that extra protection. Human beings and us, we have, fact, a direct genetic link to all life on this planet. And I mean, we share DNA with life like oak trees and butterflies and gray wolves and mushrooms and sharks and bacterium and sparrows. We share our DNA with animals because they are us. just in another form. The energy that gives an animal life is its soul, and that soul comes from God, and it is an extension of the universe, that consciousness and that awareness that gives it life. And you believe we are supposed to consume that life, when our planet provides everything we need to survive, from fruits and vegetables to legumes to nuts and fresh water. We've been told we need mass amounts of protein due to the Industrial Revolution. Basically, we were told to eat a whole bunch of protein so we can bust our asses better. But we don't need animal protein. Seriously, look at these charts. We've been lied to. Blatantly lied to. Look at them. But why? Why have we been lied to? This is one of the questions we must start to ask ourselves. I truly believe this is because the world has been overcome with evil. We were raised to follow rules in order to avoid evil. We were taught that evil will trick and deceive us. We were taught that evil will take us from our true path. It is those who taught us that who were in fact evil. We have been deceived by darkness, and we are turning creation into death and darkness. We were raised to believe we are different and separate from the animals, when in fact we are the animals and they are us, and together we balance the true nature of this planet. Do you really believe God wants you to kill for survival? You believe God wants us to destroy our world and terraform it? Adam and Eve did not eat a forbidden piece of fruit. Adam and Eve were tempted by the simple fact that they saw the serpent eat life. And then they in turn took life. The Garden of Eden was earth, and it had everything that we would ever need. Taking life was the greatest sin, and within the act of killing animals, mankind changed. I am a vegan because human beings are not supposed to eat the flesh of another animal. I am a vegan because I have no right to contribute or condone the death of life. I am a vegan because I choose to embrace life rather than end it. I recently asked a friend if my meat-eating friends invited me to go out to dinner, would I go? And they answered yes. They said I would because they are my friends and I can sit down with the carnivores and deal with it. They said I might not like it, but I'd be able to deal with it. My real answer is absolutely not. I might have at one time been able to sit at a table like that, but not anymore. How could I walk into a restaurant and sit at a table watching people sink their teeth into flesh, blood dripping from hamburgers and steaks, and looking around at a room seeing people stuff life in their mouths, sitting at a table watching people slurp meat out of shells and ripping lobster tails in half to get to the meat. Meat, let's call it what it is, muscle. I really wonder how much meat would be consumed if you had to take a sledgehammer and a machete and kill it for yourself. I wonder how much meat would be consumed if menus and packages said things like ass muscle and shoulder muscle and thigh muscle, as opposed to things like filet mignon and ribeye. I will not condone the taking of life, period. I am not a vegan for health issues. I am a vegan for human reasons. I am a vegan because I am being the changes I want to see in the world. The changes I want to see in the world. Not yours. Mine. And that's why I'm a vegan. Everyone, as always, I appreciate the views, the shares, the friendships, the clicks. And if anyone would like to submit a question or a comment, I will be back on in 5 minutes and I would be honored to chat with you. But if there is no correspondence and no messages coming in, I'm not going to waste your time nor mine any further, and I will get on with my day. Thank you so much, everybody, and I hope to see you very, very soon.